This video is going to be about when and why I learned and realized I had to know how to fight. Martial arts, that type of stuff. So basically, I was 13, 14 years old, and like, what is that, ninth grade? And our school was doing this video movie project where all students across the region were to make their own short films, and they were doing a big premiere and like a film festival showing these films, as a part of a cultural thing. And our class drove, or took the bus rather, to the next town over, which was bigger, like an hour away from my hometown. And we came there. We had like a startup thing, and then we got some free time. So me and my friends and I, we went around town messing around. We had like a couple of hours for buying stuff and just hanging out around town. And we were at this bus stop thing, and we were sitting down. And all of a sudden, we heard a guy screaming. He was screaming, I remember, Buda Glimt! Which means it's the football team, like Buda Glimt. They're doing it well now. I don't know if they were doing it well then, but he was like chanting for that team. And it was like 12 o'clock on a Wednesday. No one was around. He was just high. And I, being the genius that I am, shouted, Fauskespread! Which was my hometown's, at the time, pretty crappy soccer team, you know? Not even a rival, There was no rivalry there. I just thought it funny. And to my surprise, his reaction, instead of like laughing or something, he just said, What? And he just came walking right towards me, almost running. And he had his buddy behind him. And I'd say they were like 30 years old, 30, 35. Typical speed addict look. Sunken jawbones and stuff, and disheveled look. However, he came up to me and he pushed me in the chest like this hard. So I like stumbled back like 2 yards or something. And I looked at him like, whoa, 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 dude, easy now, I said. And I looked over at my friends, and they were sitting, two guys, I think. They were sitting on the bus stop, like big eyes, just looking like this. They weren't about to kick some ass. Quite the contrary. So there was no help there. And I remember like time froze. Time was like freezing. When I looked, I realized there's no help to get from my friends. It's me and these two guys. And he's pretty pissed and he's methed up. And that moment lasted for an eternity because I told him, calm down, sorry, man, sorry, man. But I realized if he were to choose to attack me, like he was looking to do, he looked like very aggressive, or if they attacked me, I realized I didn't know what to do with my hands. And I also realized and thought about I had time to train for this. I knew wrestlers in my school, I knew karate. I knew people were doing martial arts. I never did, but I realized I had time to train for this moment, but right now I'm powerless because I don't even know what to do with my hands, honestly. I realized at that time, that was very weird now that I have 10 years experience in martial arts, looking back, I realized exactly how little I knew at that moment. Very sobering. It's strange. And I don't think it's common because I see a lot of street fight videos, and people are usually overconfident, you know, and adrenaline and that type of stuff. But I didn't get into the fight position. Guess I went into the freeze thing, and I sort of made a vow to myself that if I somehow survive or get out of this situation, like without a big ass kicking, or if they just let me go, I mean, I will prepare. I will be prepared for the next moment like that. And yeah. And since then, I mean, I started training uh, in my garage with these friends that I had too, you know, looking at jujitsu. I got into the UFC, watched Royce Gracie. You know, this was in the 90s, but I watched, you know, the greatest clips of all time, and it was Royce Gracie beating these huge guys with arm bars and triangles and jujitsu. So I figured jujitsu is the best martial arts ever. And so we stole cardboard, me and my friends stole cardboard from an electronics store and just paved the floor of my mom's garage with cardboard, and we started a fight gym there. I remember I even had we got these CPR dolls from school in plastic with a face, and you can inflate them. I hung that upside down to have like a speed ball in the garage, you know. And we would Google and look at YouTube for submissions. So I knew about the triangle choke, I knew about the arm bar, I knew about the rear naked choke. And I believe that was it. That was pretty much it. And the Kimura from guard. And I thought honestly that was the four submissions of jiu-jitsu. So I figured, yeah, I trained that. But yeah, since then I did an exchange year in the US in Washington. I trained at a jiu-jitsu gym there, and I got a blue belt after a year of training there. And since I've trained Muay Thai, MMA, I had like an amateur MMA bout in Norway. That gave me the experience that I needed to learn that wrestling is the supreme martial art, because I had no wrestling. I figured my jiu-jitsu would save me, but no, I'm not a freaking black belt. So now I'm doing wrestling 2 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, freestyle wrestling. However, I've been in a rut, as my last video or two last videos said, and some health issues, but I'm cleaning my room and getting back. So it's important to learn how to fight so you don't become a deer in headlights whenever a speed freak is challenging your soccer allegiance.